Hello one and all to my YouTube channel, The Domestic God. Tonight's a little bit different. Photography is something I've really been delving into in the last year or so especially. And Oliver, who's my 18-month-old son, has been a big inspiration for that, I suppose. And a lot of people have been asking me about how I edit the photos and which ones I pick to edit, because I take hundreds, and I don't want to be editing them all. So I'll try to keep the video short. I'm going to go through a few things I look for in the photos, and then how I edit them. So I've already done a couple from today. We went to Mount Lofty today. Beautiful autumn leaves. It was a nice day today, some nice cloud cover, but the sun was peeking through. So I've done a couple already, but I won't show you those just yet. Here's one that I haven't touched yet. And a few things I look for straight off the bat are the eyes. Ideally, the sun or the light source will be in front of the subject and not behind or above, because that's when you start getting the dark shadows over your eyes. So here I can see the light, even though he's in shade, there's light coming in and it's catching the eye. Both eyes have good light. And when I'm looking at the eyes, the other thing I look for is sharpness. So I've got a kick-ass camera, and I won't go too much into how much I paid for that and what camera I've got. That'll be for another show. But it does have eye autofocus, so when I press the shutter button, it locks on to one of the eyes, and I can see his face is quite sharp there, and his eyes are very clear. So they're two things straight away that I look for. A couple of other things as far as the subject and his personality is something I look for. So just his facial expression. And I actually picked this photo because I haven't seen him look like this before. He's got a bit of a, it's just a look I haven't seen from him before. So I thought I would play around with this photo a little bit. And also, the personality is something I look for, and the other main thing is the lighting. So I don't want anything too dark and I don't want anything too bright. So I can see here in this grass area here, it's quite light. So I had to expose the photo so Oliver wasn't too dark, but that's made this background quite bright. So it's just a matter of is it too bright or not. So again, having a good camera, I can bring down those highlights and try to bring back that detail. So we'll see how we go. It's quite a good photo, this one, so we'll work with it. So the editing process I go through, the first thing I do is straighten the photo. So I use Lightroom, Adobe, so I've got a monthly subscription that gives me access to Lightroom and Premiere Pro and all the Adobe software. So I sort of want to, first thing I do is straighten the photo and then just get a vibe for how I want the shot to look, how far I want to zoom in and whatnot. I think I want to get some of the tree in, so I won't crop it too much, I don't think. And I like how it's just sitting above his knee there. So let's work with that. So once I've done that, and that looks pretty straight to me, we're going to go to my presets. So presets are like a filter, but it's not really a filter. A preset is adjustments that have already been made. So I can go on YouTube and look at some content creators, photographers that make up these presets. and I've got 15 or 20 of my favorite ones, and they all suit different scenarios, whether it's at the beach or at a park. Or so what I do is just play around with them and see what vibe looks best. So I've got my real go-to ones, and these first ones I play around with are very autumny looking ones, and I love that style, that sort of earthy look. So some highlight Oliver and sort of get rid of the background, and others really bring out the background as well. I have to be a little careful because there's a lot of brown and a lot of yellow in these photos, so I don't want to overdo it. So I actually quite like that one. It's got a bit more contrast. Oliver sort of gets lost in the background a little bit with that one, whereas that one Oliver stands out a bit more. It's all personal preference. You might disagree with what I'm saying, but black and white's always a winner, isn't it? Well, not always. I quite like that one as well, if we don't want to go too into the brown sort of tones. Oh, I kind of like that. So we'll stick with that. So now I've got my preset, and the preset's a good starting point, and then we can tweak it. After I've done my preset, one of the first things I do is look at the eyes again, and we can do what we call a mask, and we can, and Lightroom's fantastic because it automatically can highlight the person, and then from there it automatically can see where the eyes are, so I can just highlight the eyes, create the mask, and then from that I just want to take the shadows away, so we're lightening the eye, we're making the eyes lighter, but I don't want to be unnaturally light, you know what I mean? Before, after, before, after. So there's not much of a difference there. We could try to bring the exposure up, but we don't want him looking like a demon. Before, after. I like that. Ooh. Or do I? Maybe it's... His eyes are pretty... Let's scale it back. His eyes are pretty good. And the other thing I look for is just things that take my eyes away from where they should be. So obviously in this photo, Oliver is the subject. And I mentioned earlier these light spots in the grass, and that's really quite distracting. So what we can do is, well, there's a few different ways we could do it. Yeah, let's go with the brush. So I can basically colour in everything that I think's too light. Try not to use the brush too much because it's a bit of a... It's not 100% as far as accuracy because it's relying on my drawing. But so there we go. I've highlighted things that I think's too bright, basically. And then I bring down the highlights. So that's how it was. And then we can bring it down further. Before, after. And that's just made a whole heap of difference. And I don't like to do too much to my photos usually. Oliver had a bit of a fall the other day, so what we can do is take that away. Before, after. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't want to change too much because at the end of the day it's like a moment in time of how he is, so I don't want to change his complete look. But there we go. I like the way that's turned out. And if we have a look at the before and after, before, after. So with the before, it's very bright. Here, there's a lot of green. So we've just given it a bit more of an autumn look. Darkened the highlights a bit. Didn't have to do too much to the eyes. Straightened it, cropped it to where I like it, and that's about it. Before I go, I'll show you a couple of other ones that I did. So this one here, I edited it slightly differently. So again, I've straightened it, I've cropped it in. Brought out the eyes a little bit. Darkened around the photo and made sure that Oliver is, there's nothing distracting away from Oliver there. I haven't touched that one yet. That's a nice one. Before, after. With this one, I just thought his shoes were sort of dominant in the photo. So I just cropped the shoes out, basically. I zoomed in, and his eyes are really nice in that one. A nice catch light in both eyes there, so that looks really nice. Haven't done anything with that one yet. This one's cool. So this one, I actually got the leaves falling when I took the shot. Before, after. So toning down those greens, making those autumn colours stand out. And another thing worth noting is I do like earthy sort of colours, so I've got Oliver wearing quite autumny sort of colours as well. Again, all personal preference, but I think it suits the environment. That one's a big difference, and you can see how straightening the photo makes a big difference. So we've straightened the photo, cropped it in. There's no doubt who the subject is. Those eyes, again, got nice light in both of those eyes. And just dimming down those highlights. So around here, it's just a nice blue sky colour. It's not blown out like it is in the original there. And I'll show you one last one. This one was a bit trickier, but that's the original. So everything's very bright around Oliver, and Oliver's quite dark. So I just switched it. Lightened Oliver up a bit, darkened around him, brought in those autumn colours with my preset, made some adjustments. I'll leave it there because I could go on for a long time about this, but I just wanted to give you a little glimpse about what I look for in photos and my editing process. But I'll have more episodes on that down the track. So thanks for watching. Catch you next time.